Welcome, my name is Tashara and this is StarMade. Well, today we're still working on the Radiant Dawn. As you can see, it hasn't changed that much on the outside, or not at all basically. I've mainly started working on the inside and especially the areas connected to the outer hull. So the hangar bays, airlocks, things like that, the escape capsules as well. But before we go into that, as you can see, we are in a different sector, not that far from spawn. Over there is the spawn shop. Uh, Basically, I wanted to test out the mining function on some of the asteroids here, but we're also in a completely different universe. Not sure what happened, but the last one basically got corrupted or something, not sure. Was stuck in the loading section of when you start the universe and didn't get past that, not sure why. Coincidence, that is also the same thing, unfortunately, that happened to my survival universe. That's also the reason why I haven't released a third episode of that one yet, because basically I lost the universe I started this survival world in. So I'm not actually sure what I should do with that. Let me know what you guys think, if you have a solution or something like that. Then I would be very obliged to know. Perhaps I will still have a save of the asteroids I used for the survival series. Perhaps that will be my next project then, to start building something. But I'll have to decide that next time. In the meantime, I arrived at the airlock of the ship. I did show last episode that I added the docking collars here, and below there I decided to scrap the ones below there in the tracker section of the ship. They didn't serve really any practical purpose. This is enough to get into the ship, this end on the other end of the ship as well. The lower section would only have had a airlock and then an elevator that goes up to the same level, so yeah, waste of space basically. I did start adding some logic to it. As you can see, the light blinks on and off for 3 times and then it opens the door. It's a two-parter, as you can see over here. Very sci-fi looking, I think. And this is also the level of logic, of at least interactivity, I want to add to this ship. So little things like this. It's a bit dark in here, but yeah, I didn't really add a whole lot of interior on this side of the ship yet. And then you could continue here inside the ship, and then I had to think of an area to get you up 2 blocks, because the airlock is, the floor at least, is 2 blocks lower than the floor of the main level you have to go to. As you can see, a lot of the interior is still empty, but I did add a whole bunch of things below here. These are the escape modules, the whole bunch of logic. A lot of logic, by the way, so there will be a lot of logic shown in this episode. And in the front, it's a bit dark, but I added the main drone hangar as well. I think the first thing we will start with is this area over here, the escape modules. I did show the initial mock-up of the escape modules in the previous episode, but I want to show you a bit more about the behavior behind it. As you can see, every escape pod has its own logic module on top of it. Those are these areas over here, and these arrange everything from launching the pods till closing the doors behind you and everything else. I'm a big fan of one push logic, one button push logic. So you press one button and everything happens. Don't leave it up to the player. So if you test it out, we have to grab a bit of gravity here. I haven't built a hallway yet, but it will be around here, and then you've got all the doors here with the entrance to the escape pods themselves. So, for example, you run in here, then you can grab some gravity over here, but you don't have to. You press this button and then you're launched. That's it. The escape pod itself can comfortably sit 2 people, but you could cram 4 in here, I think, if really needed. But I've got enough space at least for a crew of 20 if it comes down to it. Some medical supplies and then some cargo storage for other supplies like, I don't know, pistol or something like that. You can access the core over here. So in an emergency you just run in and press the button and we're already outside the ship. As you can see, the door closed behind us on its own. I'm in the gravity of this capsule, and now I can enter the core here and then take control of the ship itself. As you can see, it's a bit dark, but here we go. We are all the way below the ship. And if we fly it back, and we see the red light over there, that's where the escape chute opens. We can redock the escape pod like this, because it has a pickup point on that end. And then it continues on all the way up. You can see it closed this door behind it, and when the escape pod is back in place, it opens the door again. So as a player you don't have to do anything except for pressing the button. Open this door and we can get outside again. Let's get out of gravity for a second. If you use these escape pods, of course something can go wrong, or you lose one of these escape pods. You have to add new ones. And because this button is part of the capsule itself, it doesn't really connect directly, of course, to the main ship logic. That's why I added a maintenance corridor in the back over here. Still haven't found a way to connect to the rest of the ship, but I'm working on that. And these are basically back doors to access over here the capsule itself, and then you can connect the wireless logic between the capsule and the main ship. So I want to add as many of these type of maintenance areas as possible to the ship, so that you have a practical and a roleplay function for these areas, because yeah, you're actually doing maintenance on your ship. Gives a bit more life, I think. So these are the escape pods. Like I said, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this end and 5 on the other end, so 2 per pod is 20 people. The next bit I want to show you is the main hangar, but we'll have to go outside of the ship to get the full effect for that, so we will be right back. Well, and here we are at the front of the ship. This is the main hangar door, as I showed you before. And if you open it now, yeah, there we go, you can see that we now have a interior. All the mining drones are here as well. We've got 6 on this side and 6 on the other, so that's 12 total. And we've decorated the interior of the hangar bay itself. So let's get out of the core. Here we go. Let's grab some gravity here. These drones can be launched automatically, and they have some other features as well. Let me launch them first. So press this button, it's only temporary. As you can see, they go up from the landing platforms they are on, then continue to the middle and then launch outside of the ship. There they go. They do that in a wave-like pattern until they are all launched. There they go. And the last ones. There they go. Yeah, those are all the drones that we have. So now we have an empty hangar bay. I can show a bit more about how it's built up. I decided to add these landing pads, and this is a connection for power. Basically, the idea is that if they land on the pads, then they are powered by the main ship. Not that they actually get the power from this module, but looks that way. And the idea is that if they land, then they will unload their cargo, all the mining supplies they got to the main ship, and then it's stacked up here in the middle. And there's one additional feature for this cargo that I want to show, but we'll get to that in a second. If we go to our interface, let's see, go to cruise and fleets. I've got my temporary fleet over here, as you can see, Radiant Dawn over here, and all the worker bees are part of it. You can order them to return to carrier, so we can see them land. There they go. I still think that the drone system is a bit weird sometimes. I have to turn this off. There you go. The only thing that the logic behind this redocking could be messing up is the way the drones dock again to the docking points. If they are too fast, then the drones don't have time to land on the platform and make the logic work so that the next drones will continue to the next empty platforms. But that's only a problem if the drones are really close to the docking points. I mean, this is enough space to allow them to dock correctly. So that's not really a big problem. Can get around it. Haven't found a way to make it basically proof against that, because you don't have detection for the docking rails that I'm using here in mid-air. So I would have to place a activation module in mid-air. That doesn't really look all that's cool. So no, I'm not going to do that. Now that they are almost all docked again, you can see they dock and then they turn to face inward, so that they are nice and clean, all in a row, ready for maintenance. And you might say these drones are very small, but yeah, if you take a look at it from astronaut mode, you see, well, they're still 6 meters high. That's really tall compared to an astronaut. Yeah, as a ship size, okay, it's small and they might not work efficiently, but they do work. So yeah, it's just for fun. The red light that you see here, it turns on when it's pulling from the drone to the storage over here. There's no storage in there at the moment because it's all connected to the cargo here. So it's not pulling anything from it, but it is pulling it. If it has something in the storage in the drone, then it will pull it to the main ship. When it's on the main ship, at least in the hangar bay, you want it to get it in the main storage. Of course, I could connect this storage block to the main storage area of the ship, but that's no fun. So I added a system down the middle here of the hangar bay. Just give it a couple seconds. This door will open now. Any minute. Yeah, it's flashing, so 3 flashes and then it opens. There we are. And as you can see, a cart comes out that will pick up the cargo. As you can see here, it has some already, and it stops with every point here where a drone is parked. So you can see the red line turns off, so it's not pulling from the drone anymore, because it allows the cart to pull storage from this container over here until the on the card over there. And then when it's all the way at the end, it will return to the main storage area of the ship, and then offload the cargo over there. And then you have everything nice and hopefully sorted in the main cargo storage of your ship. At least that's the plan for it. Let's let it finish its run. It's almost there. It doesn't pull everything, by the way, from the cargo containers that are used here for the drones. Just a set amount, because I want to have it go back and forth multiple runs, just in case. Let's follow it back. Then we can show how it works for this area as well, because that's what took most of the time. All the logic behind this. It was all very simple, it works, nothing goes wrong, and that's exactly why it took so long. Because this card, okay, it continues into the airlock, then it stops, it closes the door, it opens this door, it's still not going. When the door is open, it goes outside the main airlock. Let's go out of gravity, because there's no floor here. Okay, yeah, this area is still empty, as you can see. But that's what all the logic is all about. So getting this card to, or at least the logic behind it, to work correctly, to detect which direction it's coming from, if the door is open or not, and if it needs to open the door or not, that took a lot of time to figure out. Basically what I did was a simple, very simple circuit, because it's only one card I could do this, only these blocks. Basically when it goes over the rail docker over here, then it triggers the T flip-flop. So if the T flip-flop is on, you know it's coming from inside the ship. If it's off, because it triggered it again on the way back, you know it's coming from the hangar side of the ship. That's basically how I detected the direction the card is coming from. So then you have the four, these are end modules by the way, for different states you have. You have the state that the door is open, and you have the state that the door is closed. And then of course you have to do two separate directions if it's coming from inside the ship or from the hangar side. So these are the four options that you have. So open and close, and open and close again, and then from the ship and from the hangar side. That's what it does. And this way I could determine what I need to trigger. So I triggered the door if the door is closed, and then once the door is fully open, you can detect it from the button over here, because this is the door itself, so it knows that it's open. Then it could in sequence trigger again this here over here. These are basically these small circuits. So if I press, for example, this is right and this is left, press this one, it will change the rail over there, and because it's rigged to this delay block, then it triggers a tick later the rail again to get it to stop the next time. So that's basically how this works. And the same principle was used for basically all the other logic I make here in this ship. Like I said, I'm a big fan of one push on the button and everything happens for you. You don't have to do anything yourself as a player, just the action that you want. That's also how I built this logic. Perhaps it can be more compact, perhaps it can be even better, but I just add one function at a time. For example, how to open doors, that's one function, and then the tricks below that when I want to activate this particular function. So that's the thought behind this. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to show me how I could do a better job, then just drop me a message or post a link of something from your own video, and I'll take a look. Until next time.